But first, there are disturbing new details this morning in the murder of 8-year-old Sandra Cantu. Prosecutors in California are now considering filing rape charges against the 28-year-old mother accused of killing that little girl. NBC's Michael Oku is in Stockton, California, where Melissa Huckaby is facing a judge today. Good morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Meredith. Sandra Cantu's suspected killer is scheduled to make her first court appearance this afternoon, and prosecutors are prepared to ratchet up the charges. In addition to murder and kidnapping, San Joaquin County prosecutors are now considering filing sexual assault charges against Sunday school teacher Melissa Huckaby.
It's special circumstances of rape with a foreign object and lewd and lascivious acts.
It's been more than a week since Sandra Cantu's body was discovered in Huckaby's suitcase at the bottom of an irrigation pond. Today, the community is bewildered.
It's awful. I can't find the word.
It makes me sick. I mean, to think you would expect a man to do this, but a woman.
How to explain it? Family said Huckaby had seen tough times like anyone, but nothing that would have driven her to harm an innocent 8-year-old girl, a neighbor, and her own daughter's favorite playmate.
She's never harmed another person. As a matter of fact, she's more apt to take abuse than to give it. Relatives
remember her as a caring child, a dancer in her Orange County high school. A neighbor where Huckaby grew up remembers a sweet girl.
There was nothing ever bad about her. She was a good kid.
But Huckaby suffered some health issues and then struggled to keep a job after graduating. Federal court records indicate she filed for bankruptcy in 2003 with thousands of dollars in medical and credit card bills. At some point, Huckaby married and then filed for divorce in 2005. Her father says for a time, the single mother was depressed.
She had some emotional issues.
But she also had brushes with the law. Public records show she pled no contest to shoplifting in 2006, was arrested again in 2008 for felony petty theft. Last summer, she moved in with her grandparents. Her grandfather, the Reverend Lane Lawless, pastor of the nearby church where Huckaby taught Sunday school, and which investigators would later blanket, combing for evidence. If convicted of the special charges, Huckaby could face life in prison or even the death penalty, Meredith.
Michael Oku, thank you. Pat Brown is a criminal profiler. Pat, good morning to you.
Good morning, Meredith.
Huckaby is facing charges today. She's going to be arraigned on murder charges. Prosecution is also saying they're considering rape and molestation charges as well. What does that tell you? Does that give you any insight into what might have happened on the day that Sandra was killed?
Well, it gives us a lot more insight. It's very frightening. Originally, when you hear about a woman offender, you think, well, maybe she just lost control over something. Maybe a little girl made her angry in some way and she took it out on her. But with these charges, we see something much more frightening. We do see a female sex offender, and the likelihood of Sandra ending up dead would be, I'm guessing, would be because, you know, after she did what she did to her, then what could she do? The child would go back and tell her parents, and then she had to eliminate a witness. So we're looking at a very premeditated act in that case, and which is why they could go for the death penalty on
because now they have a motive then
exactly.
with those charges.
And yes, and with the sex charges, you can go for the death penalty, so she's in a lot more trouble than she was if that kind of evidence hadn't come to light.
So many of Melissa Huckaby's family members have been interviewed in the past few days. They all say the same thing. They're surprised by this. They don't understand it. Her dad said her life revolved around her own little girl, Madison, that she, quote, never raised her voice, never struck her. Is it common for people to act like this out of character, or is this a case where they didn't see signs?
Well, I would say if Melissa Huckaby is guilty of this crime, we have a lot of people in the family who are minimizing her behaviors, who sort of accepted the way she did things. Maybe they knew that she lied a lot, but they kind of let it go, or they knew that she manipulated, but they sort of let it go. And especially because a lot of her family are Christians, they tend to be soft-hearted about these things, thinking everybody is a sinner, everybody has problems, and that's why, you know, we go to God and get help from God because we have these problems. So they can tend to minimize things instead of saying, wait a minute, this person's kind of exhibiting strange behavior, maybe psychopathy, maybe the person's actually dangerous.
You believe she is a psychopath. What are the characteristics of a female psychopath, and is it different than the male version?
Well, no, actually. The traits are going to be the same for male or female. Women just maybe use things differently, and they get away with it a lot more because they're a little bit more when they manipulate, they're a little sweeter when they do it than when a man does it. So we do see some of these things coming to light with her record, criminal record. That is something that should be a red flag. And of course, if she committed,
but it was for petty theft. It wasn't.
It was. But how many of us go out and commit petty thefts? I mean, there's something right there that says you don't have respect for other people's property and that you think you can break the law. And we also see, if these charges are true, of course, this is horrendous, and nobody but a psychopath could do that. But I'll tell you, one interesting thing was that conversation she had with the reporter after she had been arrested, where she was explaining why her luggage was stolen and how it was stolen. And I remember listening to her voice and thinking, she's so calm. It's like she's just sitting across a table with coffee saying, oh, by the way, do you know why I was at the store yesterday? It's because I needed some groceries. And I'm thinking, wow, that is a very placid woman here under these circumstances. This woman should be outraged if she were innocent.
So a red flag went up for you at that point.
Absolutely. Because what a psychopath will do at that point is continue her next story. She's trying to manipulate, so she's saying to herself, what can I get away with? What can I snow this person with? How can I get them to believe this? So they're not looking at, I just want to prove my innocence. They're trying to get over on somebody, and they don't really realize that their behavior is actually odd.
But why do you see this much more with men than women? I think that's fair, right? It's much rarer with women.
Oh, sex offenders. Well, absolutely. Almost all sex offenders are male. Women just don't tend to get their jollies that way as much. And some people are saying, but women kill. And yes, they do kill. But they tend to kill their own children, little babies, or they kill the patients that they take care of in the hospital. We don't very often see this kind of a sex offense. Maybe helping your boyfriend steal a woman off the streets and help him commit a crime because you want his, be in his good graces, but not to do it for yourself. That's very rare.
I want to ask you about Casey Anthony before I let you go here. Now,
okay.
She's been charged with murder as well, and now the prosecution is seeking the death penalty. Do they have a good case?
I think they do, and I think it all came down to the duct tape on her body when they found her, because I think until that point she might have been able to say this was an accident. But if your child died in an accident and you cared about your child, you might get scared and wrap her up in a blanket and take her off to the woods. But why would you be wrapping tape around her head? I mean, this is just not something you do to your child who's just died. This is something you do to kill your child. So I think they have a very good case, along with those searches she did on the internet looking for chloroform and neck breaking and the things, how to get rid of your child, essentially. So I think put all together, I think they're going to have an excellent case.
All right, Pat Brown, two very sad stories for sure. Thank you so much.